Thank you for your attendance tonight. We will now transition to the formal public hearing. If you're not hearing the audio at this time, please check your computer speaker settings. If you're experiencing technical difficulties, please contact technical support at the address shown on the screen. In the event of technical difficulties during this public hearing, please stay online while we work to resolve the issue. Hello, my name is Cheryl Augerman, the project manager for this PD&E study, and I will be moderating this public hearing for the I-10 project development and environment study for State Road 10, US 90 in Gadsden County to State Road 263, Capitol Circle Northwest in Leon County. On behalf of the Florida Department of Transportation, or FDOT, I would like to thank you for your interest in this study. My email address is shown on the screen, and it is sherry.alogman@dot.state.florida.us. Iris Waters, the PD&E Project Development Manager, is also with me tonight, overseeing the hearing at the in-person location at the Florida Public Safety Institute Conference Center in Havana, Florida. We are both being supported by representatives of FDOT, District 3, and the consulting team. We would also like to take a moment and thank any elected officials who are in attendance for tonight's public hearing. We appreciate your interest and involvement in this project. We will now turn our attention to the narrated public hearing presentation.
Good evening. The Florida Department of Transportation would like to welcome you to the public hearing for the I-10 Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study from SR-10 US 90 in Gadsden County to SR-263 Capitol Circle Northwest in Leon County. Financial Management Project numbers 222530-5-22-01 and 222530-6-22-01. Federal Aid Project numbers D319158B and D319159B, and Efficient Transportation Decision Making number 14393. A transcript is being made of all oral proceedings and will be part of the public record for this project. Before we start the presentation, I will share a few details to help you participate in this meeting through GoToWebinar. On your computer or device screen, you should see an information window that looks like the one in the upper right corner shown here. To listen to the meeting, your computer or device speaker are selected by default. If you prefer to listen by phone, select Phone Call in the audio pane of the control panel and dial in using the information displayed. All virtual and phone-in attendees will be placed in listen-only mode throughout the public hearing. At a later date, we will provide responses to written comments that were submitted during online registration and those submitted at the in-person venue. The comment period begins as soon as the presentation has ended. Verbal comments from the in-person meeting will be addressed first. Verbal comment requests submitted during online registration will be addressed second. Providing verbal comments using GoToWebinar is simple. First, you must request to speak when registering to attend. During the comment period, the organizer will call your name that you provided at the registration and unmute you. If the microphone icon is green, you are ready to make your comment. If the microphone icon is orange, you will need to click the microphone icon once and it will notify you that you are unmuted, and then you can provide your comment. You will not be on camera at any time if you join online. During the public comment period after the formal presentation, in-person participants will be called upon to speak first, followed by the virtual online speakers who wish to speak. If you dialed into the public hearing by telephone, your phone was automatically placed in listen-only mode and will remain in listen-only mode throughout the public hearing. A recording of the webinar will be available at the project website 3 days after the hearing. You can also call the project manager after the public hearing to request additional project information. Prior to the public hearing, draft engineering and environmental documents were made available on April 22nd for public review at the Midway City Hall and the Lake Jackson Branch Library, and will continue to be available through June 1st at these locations. Addresses and hours of operation are listed on the screen. You may also view project documents online on the project website or tonight at the in-person public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to share information with the general public about the proposed improvement, its conceptual design, all alternatives under study, and the potential benefits and disadvantages pertaining to social, economic, and environmental impacts upon the community. The public hearing also serves as an official forum providing an opportunity for the members of the public to express their opinions regarding the project. There are three primary components to tonight's hearing. First, the open house, which occurred prior to this presentation, where you were invited to view project information online or view the project displays at the in-person location and to speak with the project team and provide comments in writing or to the court reporter. Second, this presentation, which will explain the project purpose and need, study alternatives, potential impacts, both beneficial and adverse, and proposed methods to mitigate adverse project impacts. And third, a formal comment period following this presentation, where you will have the opportunity to provide oral statements, or those at the in-person location may provide comments directly to the court reporter or in writing. This environmental study has been conducted by FDOT District 3 in compliance with all applicable federal environmental laws and pursuant to 23 U.S.C. 327 and the implementing MOU between FDOT and FHWA signed on December 14, 2016. The FDOT Office of Environmental Management in Tallahassee is the approving authority. This hearing is being held to provide you with the opportunity to comment on this project. This public hearing was advertised consistent with the federal and state requirements shown on the slide. Public participation at this hearing is encouraged and solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting either the Florida Department of Transportation District 3 office or the Tallahassee office of the Florida Department of Transportation. This contact information is displayed on the screen, at the sign-in table at the hearing, and in the project handout. The study limits for FPID 22253-5-22-01 extend from west of SR 10 US 90 to the Leon County line in Gadsden County, approximately 2.7 miles. The study limits for FPID 225330-6-22-01 extend from the Gadsden County line to the west of SR 263, Capitol Circle Northwest, in Leon County, approximately 1.5 miles. The total project limits are approximately 4.2 miles. The purpose of this I-10 PD&E study is to evaluate widening I-10 from 4 to 6 lanes from west of SR 10, US 90, in Gadsden County to west of SR 263, Capitol Circle Northwest, in Leon County. As one of the main east-west strategic intermodal system corridors in northern Florida, this project will provide consistency with other adjacent capacity projects, increase regional mobility, and provide system linkage necessary for efficient intra- and interstate movement of people and goods, critical for Florida's economic development. These I-10 widening projects are needed for planning consistency, system linkage, economic development, hurricane evacuation, and freight movement and growth. The preferred alternative improvements include: widen I-10 from 4-lane to 6-lane to the inside. Replace all bridge structures with a single bridge structure carrying eastbound and westbound travel lanes where the bridge typical section over US 90 will provide 8 lanes, 3 travel lanes, and 1 acceleration lane in each direction, and the bridge typical sections over Ochlockonee River and Midway Branch, Ochlockonee Relief, will provide 6 travel lanes, 3 lanes in each direction, for a total project cost of $147 million. The preferred alternative for I-10 consists of a 40-foot median with 3 12-foot lanes in each direction. Eastbound traffic will have a 10-foot outside paved shoulder and a 10-foot inside paved shoulder. Westbound traffic will have a 10-foot outside paved shoulder and a 12-foot inside paved shoulder with a high-tension cable median barrier. The proposed I-10 overpass bridge over US 90 will consist of 4 12-foot lanes in each direction, 10-foot outside shoulders with traffic railings, and 12-foot inside shoulders with a median barrier wall. The proposed bridges over Midway Branch and Ochlockonee River will consist of 3 12-foot lanes in each direction, 10-foot outside shoulders with traffic railings, and 12-foot inside shoulders with a median barrier wall. An important element of this PD&E study was to evaluate the potential project impacts and benefits. A wide range of environmental resources were evaluated, including various social, cultural, natural, and physical features. Engineering and traffic factors were also considered. This slide illustrates the impacts for the preferred alternative. There are no anticipated impacts to social and economic and cultural resources. For natural resources, there are 3.49 acres of wetlands, no floodplain impacts, and no anticipated impacts to endangered and threatened species. For physical, no air quality, no noise, no contaminated sites, 12 utilities, and traffic LOSC. The total project cost is $147 million. A comparison of the impacts from the build alternatives is provided in the environmental document prepared for this project. FDOT is conducting a Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study, for this project. The PD&E process is used to evaluate potential impacts to determine an alternative, utilizing a continuous community outreach process to ensure that all interested parties have meaningful participation in the process. Public input and information received at this hearing will be taken into consideration when preparing the final documents for this study. This graphic represents the delivery process for a project, beginning with the PD&E phase and ending with the construction phase. We are at the public hearing stage of the PD&E study. The Gadsden County portion of this project is not currently funded for design. The Leon County portion of this project is currently funded for design. The construction phase for both portions is not currently funded. Thank you. That concludes the formal presentation. We will now begin the public comment period of the public hearing. The next step is to incorporate your input on this public hearing into our decision-making process. After the comment period closes and your input has been considered, a decision will be made and the final PD&E document will be sent to the FDOT Office of Environmental Management, which, based on the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Federal Highway Administration on December 14, 2016, has approval authority on this project, granting location and design concept acceptance. Please note that we will not be responding to your comments and questions today, but we will respond in writing at a later date. Anyone desiring to make a statement will now have an opportunity to do so. There are multiple ways you may provide your comments tonight, written or verbally or online. If you do not wish to speak at the microphone, you can provide your comments directly to the court reporter. Every comment carries equal weight.
We will now call upon the in-person participants who have registered to speak. As I call your name, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address. If you represent an organization, municipality, or other public body, please provide that information as well. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. Doesn't look like we have any speakers. Does anyone desire to speak? If so, state your name and address and complete the speaker's card after you're given your statement for the public record. Well, looks like we have no speakers. We will now call upon our online participants who requested to speak at registration. When you are unmuted by the organizer, please also make sure to unmute your microphone using the GoToWebinar control panel as shown on this slide. Please state your name and address. If you represent an organization, municipality, or other public body, please provide that information as well. Again, we ask that you limit your comment to 3 minutes. Before you speak, please make sure that you have not self-muted yourself, which you can undo by clicking on the microphone icon in the GoToWebinar control panel. If you did not ask to speak when you registered for the hearing, but you would like to do so, please use the raise your hand feature, and we will call on you once we hear from those who previously registered to speak. Now I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to call on those who would like to comment virtually.
Thank you, Sherry. So we had 2 people register ahead of time to speak tonight. And so I will call on them. Robert, I'm going to try very hard to say this correctly, Feuerstein, perhaps. I saw he was on earlier under his name. If you are on now under someone else's name, Robert, would you please raise your hand so that I can unmute you? Again, this is Robert Feuerstein, Feuerstein. All right, I don't see anybody raising his or her hand except for Kent Wimmer, who we will come to shortly. Our other pre-registrant was David Jacobson. David Jacobson, I have unmuted you, so whenever you're ready, please share your comment with us.
Good evening. I'm David Jacobson. I'm president of the Stonegate Homeowners Association, and we are requesting a noise abatement barrier from the overpass of Olson Road to the overpass of Centerville Road on the south side of I-10. We all moved in to our neighborhood knowing that we were near I-10. What we did not approve or expect was the erection of power lines along the south side of I-10. The construction of the power lines destroyed thousands of trees, and now the Florida DOT is expanding I-10 in our neighborhood from 4 to 6 lanes. We don't disapprove of the widening of I-10. What we wish and ask the U.S. Or the Florida Department of Transportation is to erect the noise abatement barriers along the south side of I-10. There are some areas where the space between I-10 and the road is very, very shallow. And if there were ever a crash along I-10 in that area, it could jeopardize residents in that neighborhood. That's my comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobson. All right. Let's see. Get back to the top of the list. So Kent Wimmer. Kent Wimmer, I see that you have your hand raised and you are ready to make a comment. I have unmuted you, so whenever you're ready.
Good evening. My name is Kent Wimmer. I'm Senior Representative for Defenders of Wildlife. I am here going to be asking about the Ocklawahamie River crossing of I-10. We'd like to know if this bridge is a complete reconstruction or if you're just widening the existing bridge. If it's a complete reconstruction, we want to be sure when the bridge is rebuilt that the natural wildlife corridor that exists along the Ocklawahamie River is maintained. I'm very familiar with DOT's wildlife crossing guidelines. Our organization participated in the drafting of these. I'd like to correct the record as far as your PD&E. The At the river crossing, it's their state land on both sides. Talcott State Forest is on both sides, and your report said there were no public lands or no recreation lands, and that's incorrect. So we'd like you to please correct the record that this does cross through public lands, and you do have to pay attention to the Section 4 guidelines. So anyway, the Ocklawaha River corridor is a wildlife movement corridor. You have the second largest population of Florida black bear in the Apalachicola National Forest. They move up and down the river to Talcott State Forest and up to the Red Hills. There's been recent photo documentation of bears in the Red Hills. They are moving up and down the corridor, and so we're asking DOT to not do anything that would restrict wildlife movement for black bear and other animals as they move up and down the corridor. DOT has a successful record of elevating and linking bridges across floodplains all across the state of Florida, and that's prevented, deaths of many wildlife and also prevented accidents with motorists. So we encourage DOT to take action to protect and to enhance the movement of wildlife along this corridor, as you've done in places around the state. So thank you very much. Again, Kent Wilmer, Defenders of Wildlife.
Thank you very much, Kent. All right. Are there any other folks online who would like to make a comment tonight? If so, please use the raise your hand function. All right, Richard Davis. Oh, where did you go? Your hand was raised and then it went down. Let's see if I can find you. All right. All right, Richard, you are self-muted, so if you can unmute yourself, we'll be happy to hear your comment.
Okay, you hear me now?
We can, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, yeah, I live in the Hickory Ridge neighborhood, which is next to the Stonegate neighborhood, and which was the first speaker, and just wanted to echo his comments that the noise abatement fence would be something of great concern to us. Other than that, we also see the benefit of the 6-laning project, so not really an objection to the project overall, just request that they re-look at the impact that, the long-term increase in traffic on 6 lanes is going to have the noise in our neighborhood. So that's our concern.
We live right on the interstate, right. Our property juts up to it, and when you after they took down the trees for the power lines, it became much louder, and it's very difficult for us to be outside and have any kind of a conversation. Yeah, and so at times it's deafening when the trucks go by, and it's really much worse than it ever was.
There's actually a hill right there, so the big trucks actually kind of work to get through the hill, and that makes additional noise there too. So another reason I might want to consider what the noise impact really is.
We have a nice home, and it's our forever home, and we're not going to be able to move, and this is going to impact our way of life. And it's not just us, it's everyone that lives in our neighborhood, because the sound actually goes down the road because we're on the top of the hill. Anyway, so it would be really great to have a wall that would help to keep the noise from coming into our homes and onto our property.
Thank you. Ma'am, for the record, can we get your name also? We have Richard's name, but we would like to have yours also.
Yes, Catherine Davis
With a C or a K?
with a C.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
My mother is here too. She lives with us. And
Okay.
she's also here and echoes the same feelings that we do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anything else y'all would like to share?
That's all.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Is there anyone else who's online who would like to provide a comment? If so, please go ahead and raise your hand. Use the raise your hand function. All right. Oh, Stephen Martin, your hand went up and then it went back down. All right, Stephen, we're going to get you unmuted. All right, Stephen, you are unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, after just hearing speakers, I happen to live in Stonegate and regularly walk Pine Ridge, Meadow Hill, and Hickory Ridge. And I just want to kind of add to what was said by the residents that have spoken. Yeah, I've walked that. And I noticed a big change over the last few years after they cut down the trees. It has made a noticeable difference. And I don't live right along I-10. I live probably a half mile from I-10. But even from where I live, I can notice a difference since the trees were cut down. So I just wanted to add what the residents of Hickory Ridge and Stonegate said before. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. All right. All right, we have Mabel Patterson. Mabel, you are now unmuted.
Thank you very much for taking my comment. My house is at Windy Hill Lane, right at the back of Interstate 10, probably about a fifth of a mile from the commercial lanes. The fence that was put up behind my house was never erected to a structure and is falling over. So I'm wondering if the Department of Transportation will come out and address that fence that has no stability behind it. End of question.
Thank you, ma'am. We have your contact information through the webinar, and someone from FDOT will be reaching out to you in writing within the next couple of days to answer your question.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other questions from our folks who've joined us online tonight?
Okay, it appears that we might have lost Mandy due to the internet issues, but we will now close the online public comments and we will advance back to Sherry at the in-person location. Sherry?
Thank you, Mandy. This concludes the public comment period, and I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to share your comments concerning this project. It is now 6:29 p.m., and I hereby officially close the public hearing for the I-10 Project Development and Environment Study from State Road 10, US 90 in Gadsden County to State Road 263, Capitol Circle Northwest in Leon County. Thank you for your participation and have a safe evening.